Hi everyone, welcome to Starsight. Today we're going to channel some messages about your childhood. Now, I have set intentions for us to understand any bit of your childhood that is relevant to current patterns and current situations that you're in. However, it is likely that some of these messages are going to be difficult to hear, or they may trigger memories or emotional responses that could be painful. So please listen to this only if you're ready for it, only if it's going to be helpful to you. Sometimes getting triggered is not the best way to move forward in our healing. So please use your discernment. 3 piles here: the sacred union, the grandmothers, and healing is happening. For those of you who've picked your piles, see you at the reading, and if you need more time to pick, please pause the video. Alright, pile 1. The sacred union, beloved within, inner and outer relationships. I'm tuning into the energy here and feels like a person who has, for a long time, ever since they were a child, wanted, yearned for romantic love. Okay. There could be very specific fantasies that you've always had ever since you were a child, and as you grew older, the people in those fantasies changed, but there is something core in those fantasies that remained the same. So one thing that you could do is try and go back to those fantasies and identify what has remained the same. You might find a lot of answers in the identification of what has remained the same. That might tell you what you're really looking for. But clearly, your romantic relationships or your yearning for romantic love is connected to your childhood experience. We'll see how. I feel like you may have suffered quite a bit in this yearning for love, but there's something about it that is unshakable within you. Now, this could be a good thing in the sense that you are willing to keep trying, that you're willing to put yourself out there, that you're willing to give even when you have been hurt in the past. But it could also be that there could be a desperation in your field for love. And that desperation could be distorting your view of potential partners. So where there is even the slightest possibility, you may feel like this is it, whereas it would need more time, or maybe it won't be the right person for you at all. If you've never had a sufficient chunk of time in which you haven't been in one relationship or another, even if it's not an actual relationship, even if in your head you have been with someone or wanted to be with someone intensely, I would still count that as a relationship. So if you've not had a sufficient amount of time just on your own, without a relationship, without a fantasy, that would be the first message here, please take some time away from both fantasies of romantic love and relationships. Obviously, it's not as easy as that. Just take time away. Clearly, there is something within you that is really longing for it. So we'll understand. We'll try and understand what that is. The child within. Rapture, yes. The mystic rose. There's a way in which you are able to experience your access to feminine energy only through the experience of romantic love. Now, when I say feminine energy, it has nothing to do with your preferred orientation or with your biological sex or how you present in the world. I am using the term feminine energy as a universal term. We all have access to masculine energy and access to feminine energy. And these are basically simply two ends of a polarity. So something as regular as I like to write, you like to read, I like to cook, you like to eat, just as everything has two poles to it, energy has two poles to it, and you can call it masculine, you can call it feminine, you can call it active, you can call it passive. Over time, culturally, these poles have become sedimented into prejudice and into negative stereotypes. But by themselves, these concepts are not about lacking something. So if you are the active one, it doesn't mean you're lacking something. If you are the passive one, it doesn't mean you're lacking something. In any case, we all have both energies. We have access to both polarities. But for some reason, for you, the pleasure of accessing feminine energy feels like you could only do it within the terms of a romantic relationship. It's only when you feel wanted by someone else that you can think, now I can be floating, now I can feel, now I can receive, now I can relax. I feel that your childhood could be full of very negative perceptions of feminine energy, whereas in romantic love, you could experience the more exalted side of it. I feel that as a child, your generosity, your emotional giving was not appreciated by others. It was considered to be a weakness. The adults around you could have been very irritated by you in a very cruel way, where actually you were the one who should have received from them. You were the one who should have been given to. Instead, you were the one giving, and in response to that, you might have received a lot of cruel treatment. Part of why you received that was because the adults around you could have stilted emotional bodies where they were not comfortable with either giving or receiving. There could have been a functionalness to the environment at home for you where everyone had their functions to perform. One adult did this, one adult did that, another adult did this, one child did that. It does not feel like an environment of emotional love. where it's not about your function, it's not about what you are able to do for the family, it's just the fact that you're here, you're loved. That does not feel like the case here. But there is something naturally receptive and giving about you. You have both an inner mother and an inner child that are very strong, very well formed psychically. But with your childhood, you did not get an outlet for either the inner child or the inner mother. You weren't able to receive love because it wasn't given, and you weren't able to give love because it wasn't received. So when you go and analyze the fantasies that you've always had about romantic love, notice if this is one of the big features there, where you're giving and receiving very freely. There could also be a deep longing within you to actually have a child. So both of these cards, the figures are holding children. And if it's not to have a child, maybe you're a creative and are looking to create something big in the world. It could be like a masterpiece or a business or a home, a garden. It can be anything, but there is a lot of there could be a lot of creative longing within you. Again, I would encourage you to see this as in direct relationship to your childhood, so that your longing, your desire to create can find a natural balance within. When we have desire that emanates from a sense of lack, it can be really hard to manage it, because the lack feels so intense that we're just driven to fulfill the desire in any way we can. When we pay a little bit of attention to that feeling of lack, when we fully understand, or not even fully, even if we understand a little bit how deprived we felt as a child, then we can be more in control of the desire. Then it doesn't have to drive us, and instead we can work with it. And that changes everything, because once you can work with that desire, then a lot of different directions open up. So if you get an opportunity and it's not the best for you, you don't take it. You don't allow yourself to be in situations where there is potential that you'll get what you want, but it's not actually happening. So a lot of groundedness becomes available to us when we are able to understand, give adequate attention to the lack that drives our desire. Knight of Cups, Palace of Coins, the Nine of Wands. Yeah. I think that there are lots of good things in your life right now, pile one. You could be very happy with your professional life. Things could be good in a financial sense. You could be living in a place that really suits you. But the longing for romantic love is so intense that none of those good things, they seem to matter to you, or it all feels not enough. it all feels like, but you don't have the one thing that you want. And at an intellectual level, you understand that you need to enjoy what you already have, that you need to be grateful for the things that are going well in your life, but emotionally, you are not happy. Emotionally, it feels like you're waiting. I also want to say, I mean, this is not here in the cards, but it feels energetically true that the good things in your life, there could have been people in the past romantically who tried to attach to you because of those good things, who consciously, intentionally, or even unconsciously were looking to make use of what you had. And all of that has been terribly disheartening for you. I think you might tell everyone, no more, I don't want to date anymore, I don't want to be on dating apps, I don't want to do this. But you may say that, but inside of you, that's not true. You may say to others, oh, I want to be alone for a while, I'm not looking for anyone for a while, but it's not true within. I feel here also, I feel like you're waiting for me to say that it will happen, don't worry, you'll have the relationship of your dreams, just do this much, just work on yourself this much, and the right person will come. But that is not the message here, pile one. In fact, the message is, don't tie your inner work to the condition that you will be happy romantically. Don't work on yourself with that kind of a goal. I'm doing this so that I can achieve that. Because we don't actually know what direction you need to blossom in. We don't actually know what direction your soul needs you to grow in. So if you're already feeling, if you're even at least telling others, I don't want to be with someone right now, I don't want to be on dating apps right now, all of that, make it real. Truly give up, not the wish for romantic love, but at least give up the desperation for it. Find it in yourself to really surrender. I think that without the lens of this longing, you're going to look at your life very differently, because there is so much good in it. I think without this longing, you might be able to enjoy your current life for the first time, and enjoying it, letting it shelter you, like letting it give you all that it has to give to you, your current life as it is. It might fulfill you and fill you in a way that you don't expect. And then that kind of receiving and giving, getting it in a form other than romantic love, I feel like it's going to change you. I feel like it's going to give you a lot of perspective, because there is something inside of you, like an inner child, that is set on romantic love. That's the only way I'm going to be able to give the way I want to. That's the only way I'm going to be able to receive love the way I want to. And this is all saying to you that actually there are other modes and situations of receiving and giving that are already there in your life. They are already there. They can be in the realm of work, they can be in the realm of simply lots of trees and flowers around you. Your home could be a very, very beautiful space. You know, there is so much that we can receive even from a space, even where there is no sentient being around. One last bit of advice breath, life. Heart chakra healing. As you start getting into a deeper relationship with your life as it is, there is some healing that will come in for you at the level of your heart. It feels almost as if you are, there is distance between you and your pain. There is distance between you and your wound. And you've created this distance by fantasizing about romantic love. Like, it'll all be worth it when. It's all okay because I'm going to be so loved. It's going to be so amazing. All of that is a kind of escape from the pain that you have experienced as a child. I feel also that you might not even have spent some time thinking about how the adults around you hurt you, because you have been so set on what needs to come in for you. So as you do that work of thinking carefully about what you have and have not received from the adults around you as a child, there'll be a lot of this pain that you are going to be able to release. It's actually going to happen in a much more organic and smooth way than you think. But for that, for a bit, you really need to take the leap of faith and release your longing for a bit. How to do that? I think partly by noticing every time that you slip into this longing, when you slip into this fantasy. You could also use tools like meditation, journaling, body work. All of that helps us move our energy and reprogram ourselves. Of course, you can be in therapy, you can engage in healing practices of some kind. I think though, pile one, to begin with, all you need is simply this commitment. Because until now, you may just not have wanted to pay critical attention to your longing for love. It may have been something that you just take for granted and are just simply unwilling to study, unwilling to properly investigate. Like, why is it that I really want this? Or you may have given yourself very self-evident answers. Yeah, everyone wants love. I also want love. Is it so bad to want love? Those kinds of answers that are not real answers. They're platitudes. So I think even if you were to commit to just this, like, I want to understand why I want this so badly, and I want to be honest with myself, I think taking even that step is going to help you bring this longing into balance. Breath work might help also. All right, pile one, that's your message. Sending you a lot of love. All right, pile two. You have a lot of ancestors around you. You could have been someone who, even as a young child, could feel energies around you, had their inner senses activated. Maybe you were clairaudient, clairvoyant from an early age. I also see this card is that of the grandmother, so I also see that there were feminine energies around you, either in the flesh or in spirit, that were very supportive of you. You yourself are an old soul. I feel like this lifetime is less about you getting what you want and more about you holding space for others, about you just having perspective all the time, perspective that you shouldn't have based on your age and experience. Like you could be 28 or whatever and saying things that actually would not have, no one would have been able to articulate them until they had gone through a bunch of things and they were in their late 50s or something. But here you are saying things with perspective and faith. This lifetime is less about you developing and more about you remembering. So of course, like everyone grows, you are also growing, but it's almost like what you need has already been earned in past lifetimes, and this lifetime your task is to remember, access it, integrate it, make it available to yourself and others. Also, these two figures have their hand on this earthen pot. The earthen pot is often a symbol of the material body. So that could be one of your directions of living this time, where you're taking care of the body, you're nurturing the body. You're nurturing the body over other things like mind or financial abundance, or even relationships. You could be professionally, you could have chosen to work with the body also in some capacity, as a medical practitioner, or as a healer, or as a massage therapist, chiropractor, acupuncturist. Nurturing the body as a vessel of the soul. This is giving the kind of energy where you were a young child and your grandmother before dying left your deck of tarot cards, and then that was your initiation. You've already been spiritually initiated, pile 2. Definitely as a child, from what I can feel of the energies here. Now, if that's not true, this may not be the pile for you, right? The Rose Garden. Innocence, forgiveness, be gentle with yourself. Temple of the Rose, ancient power, see? Expression, activation, scarlet codes. Yeah, this lifetime is more about activation rather than earning the spiritual power. You already have it. The sacred waters. See? Nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, self-care. All right, pile 2. I mean, these 3 cards feel very much like a confirmation of what I was getting from that first card. But an additional thing that I'm getting is this reading might be coming in as some kind of career advice for you, some kind of professional guidance for you, that no matter what you've chosen to do, turn it, direct it towards caring for the body. Okay, so regardless of what it is that you do, even if you are an AI programmer or you're doing something really technical, can you work for an organization that ultimately takes care of the human body? Or can you align yourself with projects that are about making health care better for everyone, or making it possible for people to take care of their bodies in a particular way? Basically, whatever it is that you're doing professionally, turn it towards health, towards rest, towards self-care. Contribute to these three terms in the world: health, rest, self-care. Even food, you could also be working towards food security for others. You could be working for malnourished children. Again, I'm getting such an influx of energy here. Again, whatever it is that you're doing professionally, you don't need to change your path. Simply turn your direction towards taking care of the human body. There is so much there for you. As soon as you do that, you'll start experiencing this activation of your spiritual power. You will start feeling that resurgence of all the wisdom that you've earned in past lives. It's just going to come to the fore very easily. The human body is your portal. The more you work on it, the more you are returned to yourself. It could also be for your own self, even if you're not doing work that is, or maybe you're not, in a set career path yet. Even if you were to start taking care of yourself in a much more conscious way, this will start happening. I'm also seeing all the water here, so you could also be a swimming coach or something, or you could be a professional swimmer. Just working on your body and working on the human body in general. That is your path in this lifetime, Paito. It is feeling so very certain to me. There's no maybe, could be. So careful about applying this message to yourself. Again, remember the beginning of this reading. If those bits resonated with you, that you were always clairvoyant or clairaudient, or had those inner senses activated for you as a child, if those things resonate, this might be for you, but please use your discernment. Yeah, I feel like whatever work that you're here to do in this lifetime, like, it's not the kind of lifetime where you go through one challenge after another, one struggle after another, but it's more about everything that you've earned through your struggles and through your conflict in the past, in past lives, I mean. You've earned a lot of wisdom, and now you're here to actually put it in the service of the world. Which is why your energy feels very settled already, as a child. It's very settled, you know what you need to do. But this energy may not have been, I feel like one of the ways that this sortedness could have taken form in your childhood is that you may not have had adults really taking care of you. Like, you may have been a lone wolf, you may have just been self-sufficient and independent from the get-go. You could have had your own ways of entertaining yourself, or getting lost in activities where it was just you. You may not have had a lot of friends or not a lot of peers, but also you didn't need a lot from the adults around you. And there's been a lot of aloneness, happy aloneness in your life, in your childhood. I think that while you had some feminine energies that understood this perfectly, but I feel like the bulk of the adults around you didn't understand all this and could have made you feel like you were a weirdo, could have made you feel like you just don't fit in, that you are one of those people who need to live in a cabin in the middle of nowhere somewhere because you're not meant for civilization, that kind of a thing, that you could have internalized. And while you might have you might have put a positive spin on it, like, yeah, I'm psychically aware, so I'm energetically sensitive, so it's not always possible for me to be around a lot of people, around everyone, etc. I think that you need to correct this internalized assumption. It's not that you're not meant for civilization. It's not that you won't find friends or your soul tribe is not available to you. In fact, I think you're here to give to civilization. And so sooner or later in life, you are going to have a leadership position. It could be professionally, but it could also be in just a relational capacity where there are a lot of people around you who come to you regularly for guidance and leadership and modeling. You know, like the way you live your life becomes a real model for them. So I feel like this is a bit in the distance, but you're listening to this message to keep that in mind, that when that time comes for you to be a leader, don't hesitate. Don't think that, oh well, I'm weird, I actually can't be around human beings. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. You are able to be not only be around others, but actually provide a lot of grounding and anchoring just in your presence. You can walk into a party and, you know, the mood becomes much more grounded, or you can walk into a supermarket and suddenly everyone's feeling calmer. So activate the power and the wisdom that you've already earned through taking care of yourself and through turning your professional path towards the human body. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to completely feel like you've come into yourself. But then when the leadership opportunity comes, please understand that not only are you perfectly suited to other people's company, but actually they need you. They need you. Six of Cups, yeah. Eight of Cups. The Ace of Wands in reverse. Yeah, I feel like definitely as a child you've had unsavory experiences with peers where other people, you know, adults and peers, children of your age, have made you feel like you're really weird. That you just don't act like a child of that particular age would or should. And this has gotten deep inside of you that that's not for you. Relationships are not really for you. That's not true at all, pile 2. I also feel that there is a very powerful and real romantic partnership that is energetically, I can see the energetic possibility for it. This is the stuff that is, sorry about the break, pile 2, I got a phone call. Yeah, so I was saying that definitely you've been made to feel like you're not fit for relationships in some way, but energetically I can feel the possibility of a romantic partnership that's really stuff, that's made out of dreams. Like, it's extremely soulful and rooted in unconditional love. I feel like you're really listening to this reading today, not because you need, what's the right word? Not because there's something that is revelatory, like you don't need a revelation about your childhood. I think this is about preparing you for the future. That leadership position is coming, relationships are coming, and you're doing perfectly well by yourself. But if you've internalized this assumption that you're not able to lead others or be with others, that's the only thing that you need to release. You just need that. You don't even need to heal it. You just need to release it. Because as it is, as your own power and wisdom returns to you, there's not going to be a lot of space for this assumption to live inside of you. Yeah, there is a purpose to the aloneness that you've experienced in this lifetime so far, and you've enjoyed it. But there's also another purpose, which is, this activation of your own power. And what happens with a lot of people in human incarnations is that we get distracted by our relationships. They are a vessel of growth, but they're also a source of so much distractions. They think this about me, they feel that about me, they want me to do this. You've managed to protect yourself from all of that, but not because you're not fit for relationships, but because you didn't need them at the time. Right. Clarity, mountain. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be the quality of the leadership that you offer to others. You're going to be offering a lot of clarity and quiet to others. Like, they can just come to you, and in your presence they find whatever they need to find, because your energies are so aligned, because you are truly in touch with your inner power. You're not drawing on any external sources of power. It's just you. You know who you are, and that is so rare. That is so rare. That is the heart of the medicine that you're here to offer to others. The mountain, I'm also thinking of, people at the top being really lonely. And to me, this card also confirms all of those things that we've discussed. You've made peace with your aloneness. But that's going to change, Pile 2. That's going to change. Just yesterday, someone sent me a book about hermits living deep in the mountain and pursuing a spiritual path in that isolation. It feels like that to me with you. You've been a hermit on the mountain so far, and soon you're going to be ready to share your knowledge, your power, simply your presence, your soul energy with others. And there's also going to be people who come into your life to give to you, who are aligned with you, who are not there just for what you can give to them, who are not there just to be led, but who are there to walk with you hand in hand. This is beautiful, Pile 2. You've earned so much through your past lives, so much wisdom. That's all that is real, right? So much wisdom in your past lives, and it's all getting ready for you to harvest and offer to the world in this lifetime. Alright, pile 2, that's your message. Sending you a lot of love. Pile 3. Yeah, this is definitely a group where you're very aware of your childhood wounds. There's been some deep wounding here that you're conscious of and you have also started working on. I feel like you've reached a critical stage in this healing. Let's say, for example, that so far you have been working on separating yourself from the perceptions of your family or their values or how they think one should be living. You've spent a lot of time separating yourself from that, separating yourself from how other people see you, especially your family members. But now that is complete and you are now learning to also free them from your perception. Okay? Because what happens with a lot of children who are judged, who are forced to follow a particular path by the adults around them, they also, in reaction and also as a defensive measure, they also start nurturing a very negative perception of the adults around. So you may be at a point where you have separated yourself from their negative perceptions or their very rigid understanding of what is good, what is bad, but now it may be time for you to free them from your understanding of how they messed up or what they did wrong or how they are not doing what they're supposed to do. There could be a lot of judgment within you towards the adults around you. I mean, now you're also an adult. I mean that people who were adults when you were a child. And this is very natural and normal. Don't start talking to yourself in the sense, oh, we are not going to be judgmental, we're going to be all love. No, being judgmental of adults who mess up is very normal. But the kind of good inner work that you've done in terms of separating yourself, bring that protocol also here. Don't just do it under the, don't just tell yourself, oh, I'm not going to be judgmental anymore. Like, truly understand where that's coming from. Truly sever the emotional bonds here that make you feel safe when you're able to say, this person who hurt me is wrong. Because that is a very important way to heal, right? That's a very important way for us to claim our sense of self. So don't be in a hurry to say, oh no, I'm not going to judge anyone else, but actually slowly give yourself what you need so that you can let go of that judgment. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. I feel like this is also saying it is safe to go slow. Like, you don't need to have everything figured out immediately. You don't need to be done immediately. Let this take its own time. I feel like already you've invested a lot of years in this healing process, and something inside of you might at the moment feel impatient or feel like, how much longer is this going to take? But I think that family relationships are a big part of your karmic learning in this lifetime, and so it may actually, this might be an ongoing thing for the rest of your life, where you keep uncovering more steps. Like, okay, you've separated yourself from them now you have to release them from your judgment. Once that is over, then you discover another step that you need to take. Like, this might be ongoing for a long time, because this is really the bulk of your karmic learning in this lifetime. So don't put any preconceived notions on this process, how much time it should take, what it should look like. Just go with it. And you're already doing amazing with it, pile 3. This is a little bit extra encouragement for you. Keep going. Yeah, codes of the seeds, the blueprint is within you. Take the next step. Morning dew, clarity, a fresh start, a positive outlook. Okay. Lineage of the rose, moved by the goddess here for this soul call gather. Okay. Yeah. All right. This might feel a little bit triggery, pile 3, so careful here. Take care of yourself. If you feel like this message is not for you, or it's affecting you in a way that is not productive for you, just click off. Yeah, whatever's meant for you will find its way to you in some other form if this is not it. So don't think, oh, I have to listen to this, otherwise I won't get the message I need. Your guides will find a way to get it to you. So if this reading is making you feel not comfortable, please let it go. Yeah? Okay, so here's what I'm getting. There are more alignments and alliances between you and the adults that have not been the best with you than you think. There were circumstances in their life when you were born, when you were a child, that, I mean, nothing can justify abusing a child, or no circumstance can justify treating a child badly. But also at the same time, now that you have done this much of healing, it is available to you, an understanding of these adults is available to you that is rooted in compassion, and that is rooted in a realistic understanding of their capacities. Okay. It's not that you were ever going to be able to say whatever they did was right. That's not even the point here. But as you start seeing their life in a holistic sense, they were not just your parents, or they were not just your caregivers. They were also people who were going through very difficult job situations, very difficult relational situations of their own, health problems, family problems. Maybe they were also at the receiving end of a culture or a world that was oppressive to them in a particular way. Maybe you belong to a community that has been traditionally oppressed by other communities, or have been at the receiving end of a specific kind of violence. And this is obviously something that your caregivers would also have been dealing with when you were a child. Again, none of this is to justify the wounding that may have happened via their actions for you. But this is to really expand your understanding of who they are. They are not just, this is the sentence that keeps coming, they're not just your parents, they're not just your caregivers. They are human beings who were going through, and possibly are going through, a lot. I feel also that the adults around you might have been prone to a kind of positive thinking that was gaslighting in its effects. If you were to say, you really hurt me yesterday, instead of them apologizing to you or coming to terms with how they hurt you, showing to you that they're committed to doing better or acting differently, they might have said, this is what families do. We hurt each other, but then we also love each other. It's all okay, don't worry. Yeah, it really feels like a lot of gaslighting. And what you need to understand, pile 3, is that they're they're also in the habit of gaslighting themselves. So whatever problems that they faced in the past, whatever intense wounding that they have incurred on their own emotional and physical bodies, they have avoided dealing with it by saying, well, this is life. This is how it goes. Some of it is good, some of it is bad. So in gaslighting you, they were also showing to you that they have not worked on their healing either. They haven't allowed themselves to recognize how much they need people in their lives to apologize to them, or to even recognize how much pain they've been in. Your caregivers, your parents could have social lives where everyone thinks they're doing really well. Everyone thinks, oh, they're the life of the party, they're all good. No one knows how much your parents, your caregivers are hurting. No one knows what they've gone through in their life, because in some ways they don't know themselves, because they don't want to think about it. They don't want to work this out. They don't want to release it. It's too much. It's too much for them. They'd rather shut down and live life from this hyper positive, distorted place than actually come to terms with what they've been through. And I feel like you inherited this pain that your parents, your caregivers did not deal with. It's like in the womb, you got it. You got these wounds. And so you came into this lifetime determined to take care of this, determined to heal, determined to speak the truth of your emotional pain. You don't gaslight yourself. You don't gaslight others. You think that speaking the truth is the way to healing. If we tell each other what has happened, that's the only way out. And so you've come into this lifetime really wanting to heal not just yourself, but also your ancestral lines. But what you need to understand right now, pile 3, is I think this is it. Like, even starting to see them as full adults, starting to see them as humans who are not just your parents, your caregivers, that in itself will unlock some healing energy for them, because you are beginning to see them beyond the picture that they construct for others. Though they keep saying everything's okay, yeah, bad things happen, it's all okay, but when you start seeing that empty lie for what it is, when you start seeing parts of them that they themselves are not in touch with, I think that they're going to experience this influx of healing energy via your eyes. And you're going to be very surprised by how much that affects them, and how that over time, slowly, how that influx of healing energy via your eyes, via your compassion, changes them. I don't think that, I don't have information here about whether it's going to be like a complete turnaround. I don't know that, but I feel like you're definitely going to see some significant changes in them as you start observing them with eyes of neutrality and compassion. Not just a hurt child, but as a person, as a healed adult. Four of Cups, High Priestess, and the King of Cups. Yeah, you're also going to experience a lot of freedom from the pain of your childhood as you start seeing them compassionately. Like, that's just going to fade in the background. Suddenly it's going to start feeling like, yeah, they did what they thought was best. Like, some acceptance is going to come in as you start seeing them differently. And I feel like that release is going to activate two different things within you. One is the capacity to give love and receive love, but the other is a kind of, I don't want to say psychic powers, but it feels like your intuition is really going to get very powerful and strong. I feel like here we're going to get your feminine and masculine energies in balance. They're going to find a lot more alignment with each other within you as you release the pain of your childhood. Because why your intuition is going to get more powerful? Because you won't be caught up in this world of gaslighting anymore. You won't be, see, when we're gaslit, we are constantly reasoning with that voice in our head. We're constantly furnishing proof that we're not lying, that our pain is real. But when you step out of it altogether, your energies are free to actually listen to the world around you, to actually listen to your own soul. So as you let go of this childhood pain, I feel like you're just you being able to understand what you need to do, where you want to go, all of that's feeling very strong. Then you're focused much more on the present than the past or the future. It could also mean that there is some activation of your psychic gifts that is happening. So clairaudience or clairvoyance or any of the clairs, maybe memories of your past life coming through. Yeah, so something in you is getting activated very deeply as you do this work. But the other thing is, which is also super exciting, is that, this bit that we saw in the beginning, it's safe to soften. That is happening. You're able to trust others. You're able to build relationships of faith and emotional giving and receiving with others, which might have been a challenge for you in the past. Again, because of this mistrust that other people won't actually take your version of things seriously. There's also a fear, it's a real fear that you have had in your heart because of your childhood, is that how can you trust people when they themselves lie, to their own selves? Like, it's not that they're just lying to others, they're lying to themselves. There is falseness in their heart, so how can I trust them? Now, as you start seeing your adults, your parents in a more holistic light, you're going to find that it's easier to judge who lies to themselves and who doesn't. Because the truth is, Pile 3, that yes, there are lots of adults in the world who lie to themselves, but then there are also a lot of adults who don't, right? And you don't have to be in relationships with people who do, but you can absolutely happily be in relationships with people who don't, who are truthful to themselves, and in fact are committed to always being truthful to themselves. So even if a lie slips in once in a while, they're still accountable for it. They're responsible towards themselves for it. I feel like as it's paradoxical, as you start seeing your parents as humans, their significance is also reducing in their life, and you're beginning to see that there are all kinds of people in the world, not just people who are like your parents, or not just people who are like your caregivers. Final piece here, building atoms. Yeah, this, for me, this is a confirmation of what I was saying in the beginning, which is that this is an ongoing journey in this lifetime, healing from and with your family. I feel if you are longing to have a family of your own, this is also confirmation that, that's definitely a path of great healing and fulfillment for you, to have a family of your own, to build the family that you wish you had. That's all possible, and that's all positively indicated for you. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the different steps that get revealed to you in terms of healing with and from your family, and trust that that's exactly what you need to do to get where you need to go. Alright, Padri, that's your message. I'm sending you a lot of love. Take care.